roller coaster ride, hands up in the sky.
Hi, my name's Lucinda. My friends call me Lucy, and this is Alanis. She is my 2012 Sprinter. She's compact, she's beautiful, she's very practical, and I built her all by myself.
We going up, we take it down.
So inside of the main driver's area, we've got my wardrobe, which is my headliner shelf. So that sits above where I actually sit and drive. So I've got plenty of headroom, but it also allows me a whole cupboard of clothes storage, which is great. This is a swivel chair, as you can see from the base below, and it's also the housing unit for where I have my night heater. So especially because I'm living in the van during the winter months or touring in the northern countries like in Norway and Sweden, having night heater is great. So this is my compact toilet unit, which is actually hidden away as a cupboard. So we've got a full compostable toilet there, and under here we have a shower, which is why we have the shower curtain still up here. And all of that is sourced using hot water, which comes from my heater, as well as I have running fresh water, which comes from my 12-volt tap. So up here we have another seating area. So that's what the cushions are at the back. So there's plenty of room up here to chill out and watch films, because I've also got a projector which I can use across the curtains, or it doubles up as a lovely double bed inside the lap joints, which I can then pull out and use. So this then turns into a double bed, and it's again a great use of that space for in between the van, so I can still sit down and chill but have a big space to sleep in.
Tell me, what is the biggest misconception about female van life drivers?
I feel that women are fully capable. They're fully capable to not only have an adventure, but to drive themselves to that adventure. I feel like women especially have that connotation of being almost passenger princesses, is a term that I've heard, where it's like they're always the co-pilot, maybe they're the navigator. And that can be the case, but it can also be a case for a male narrative and a men in that situation and that dynamic to take as well. There's nothing to say that a female shouldn't drive just as much as a man, or a man shouldn't take the share as much as a female. So I feel for me, it should be equal opportunity for both.
Okay, and do you have any anecdotes about experiences as a female driver?
I would definitely say I have more looks in the van from not just men, but women as well, than if I was driving like a Lamborghini. Because don't you think people expect to see like this 5 foot, nearly three woman driving this big old Sprinter van? So I think when they do, I see that at roundabouts and islands, people do like a little double take. So I think you get a lot of attention, and technically positive attention as well, because it's like, oh, fair on you for driving something that big. Or I've parked in a bay somewhere like at Tesco's, and someone next to me has gone like, oh, you are brave for doing that. I'm not sure if I could do that. So it's really lovely when people share that almost experience of wanting to say like, well done. It makes you feel really empowered within your driving ability.
Have you had any negative experiences as a female driver?
I would say as a female driver, not so much. Mine have mostly been really positive and quite inspirational, really, where people have been maybe surprised that I'm doing my adventure and I'm driving this van. And they'll be like, oh, you're driving the van on your own? And I'm like, yeah. But it's not in on a condescending way or anything. It's well done to you. Like, that's really cool. I really want to do an adventure like that. Tell me where you're going. People take an interest in how long you've been driving, how long you've had that van. Where are you going to next on your adventure? So it's a great way to communicate and connect with new people as well. People tend to come up to me and talk to me when I'm in car parks or when I've just arrived. So, one of the things that always makes me smile is when I go to places like garages or really male environments like mechanics, places where mechanics are, or even when I'm mountain biking, I rock up to these events where it's mostly male-led sports events, and I'll just get loads and loads of kudos from guys being like, well done for doing it on your own, well done for driving up this mountain. Even I was really nervous coming up here, and because I think being a female in those environments is a minority, you stand out a lot louder, and sometimes that can be a bit of a scary thing. but it can also be a really empowering thing as well, because you want to be here to show other women, other people that this is great, and this is a really good fun thing that you don't want to miss out on.
Do you have any tips for women who may be inspired to start their own van life adventure?
Yeah, loads. I feel I've done a few big adventures now. I've been up to the Arctic Circle and to Norway. I've just been down to Greece by myself. So that was like 14,000 miles through Central Europe and the Balkans. And I was quite unsure about doing that adventure on my own. I felt a bit scared about driving like such a big vehicle. I was worried about parking. I was worried about like bendy, narrow roads and coastal roads and lots of things that I wasn't sure about. So I made sure to download maps offline. I made sure to have a look at segments of where I was traveling to so I could check out roads and distances. I got myself some cameras for around the vehicle to help me with my parking, as well as obviously if you're in a hire vehicle, that's great because a lot of them come with safety features like parking and reversing cameras, which are so essential. And I would also say, yeah, definitely invest in like a quality sat nav, put in your dimensions of your van. So again, if you're in a hire vehicle, you can change the dimensions as well. So that's great if you're going through low bridges or narrow tracks. So it'll keep you on the right roads, which are safe for you, and it makes you feel more confident as a driver. As well as safety. So sleeping in a van on my own as a solo female, I always make sure that I've got like deadbolts on the van and I've got central lock-ins on. So it's just a few things and safety checks that I do at night which make me feel really safe as well. And obviously if you're in a newer vehicle, a lot of those things come as like totally standard now, which is great, and it makes you feel really like, oh, I'm excited to go to bed and wake up tomorrow and have a next day adventure.
What does van life mean to you?
Oh, freedom, so much freedom. So whether it's when in the past when I was still full-time working and I was doing like 2 or 3 days of just holiday van life. So I would do my working week, and on weekends in the summer, I would just escape into the van and have that pure freedom for 2 or 3 days to go hiking, to go see friends and have a camp out. It was a lot of my social time as well. So van life became the epitome of freedom for me. It became part of my sports and going out and enjoying myself and keeping fit and active, going to see friends. So yeah, it's become an essential part of my life, and I definitely recommend it to anyone. The community of people that you meet when you're traveling, especially when you're going on holiday and you're in those areas where everyone comes together at the beach, or whether you're going hiking and at resorts, it's so lovely. Everyone's so friendly. So yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it.
So, do you remember how you felt the first time you ever drove a camper van?
I felt really nervous, and I think that's totally normal, isn't it, when you're in a new situation. About, I don't know, 10 seconds into that, I felt empowered. I had this big steering wheel, had my music on, I felt really good. And I think after my first couple of minutes and getting the feel of the vehicle, using my mirrors, it really is just like driving in any other respect. It's just a little bit bigger. So you get used to it. It's so fast. And then you're like, what have I been waiting for? This is so much fun. And I'm so much higher. So I can see more of my surroundings. You also feel like a lot more confident when you're on roads because you're a bigger vehicle. So you'll find that cars pull over for you to let you pass. So you don't need to worry about kind of all that manoeuvring sort of stuff. You find that the bigger vehicle you're in, the more people tend to move over for you, and you have more right of way. So that's really good because it allows you to feel like you're more confident when you're driving.
What's been your favourite van life experience so far?
I think for me, it's doing some of my holiday adventures. So when I've been travelling out on big open roads, and I know I've just got that absolute immersion in nature, and like being up in the Fjordlands when I was up in Norway, being able to explore that through a vehicle was amazing because you're so remote up there. So you kind of need something to get you from place to place. And when you can drive yourself, and you can also have the luxury and don't have to worry about accommodation because you can take your home with you, it's so brilliant. As well as like cost of food, and it was a little bit expensive. So making all my own meals and everything was just so much fun. You get to taste a lot of the local foods and stuff that you buy and go and explore markets and a bit more localised culture, because having a van allows you to be a bit more accessible out in the countryside and rural places that you might not get to go see if you were doing it via a plane and bus tours and excursions. So I think going off into those kind of unseen places a little bit more, and it feels more adventurous. You feel proud of yourself for driving down those less beaten roads and tracks and being like, oh wow, I got myself here. And then you end up with this beautiful park up in front of this huge mountain and a glacial lake. And you're like, wow, this is it, this is living. So I really enjoyed having a summer tour up in Norway out of a camper van. I feel like I couldn't have done it in any other way, really. It had to be van life.
So tell me, how old were you when you first started learning to drive?
I started learning when I was 17, and then I went off to university and I had far too much fun and kind of all fell by the wayside. So it wasn't until I started getting a full-time job and affording lessons that I kind of got back into driving, and I'd lost all my confidence. I feel like I learned to redrive as such in a city after university and was a postgrad. So it was really hectic. I used to spend like all of my driving lessons sat in like traffic, and it was just rubbish, and I really didn't enjoy the experience of driving. I managed to get through, pass my test first time, and then the first car I had, I fell in love with, because then I could get out of the city and actually start exploring and going to more countryside places, and I actually started camping then. I started doing car camping and just going away on weekends and stuff and sleeping out the back of my car. And it gave me that sense of freedom and stuff. So yeah, but that wasn't until like my mid-20s then.
What's been your favourite thing about van life?
I would definitely have to say the places I get to go and the people within those places. So all the friends and the community of travellers that I've met and the awesome people and exchanging of stories is really enriching. As well as it's just the places that you get to go to that you wouldn't get to access on like a traditional maybe holiday where it's like a all-inclusive hotel and you're just having your localized kind of dinners out and things. Whereas when you've got the van, you're free to explore. You can go to the remote places, you can go to local places, you can chat to the locals because you don't have to rush back to catch a bus. So it just gives you a lot more opportunity to explore.
Who is your favourite person to road trip with and why?
I would definitely have to say it's become myself. And it's been a bit of a journey to become myself as well, from like traveling with friends, traveling with partners. Now that I'm a solo female van lifer, I like to take holidays by myself. I like to travel on my own. And at first I was a bit scared about taking that as a venture. It's a lot of time to yourself in your own head. Then slowly becoming myself and feeling more empowered to take trips by myself. So recently I've just been on a holiday to Greece and been away on my own for months at a time. And even though it's a lot of time on your own, it makes you and forces you to go and speak to more people. So you're more social outside the van. So you go and talk to more people, as well as you undertake new challenges like driving in a new country, like driving to different environments and landscapes. I was driving through like desert tundras and mountain pass roads. And I would get out and I would take a picture and sometimes just be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've driven myself to Greece. It was a real affirmation of my own, sense of achievement there. And I was like, wowzers, it's from this 21-year-old that was too scared to drive to now coming this far. So I feel like the best person to travel with these days is myself. It allows me that time and that, space for personal growth and check in kind of what I want to do next, and it just allows you more time to be at peace with yourself, really.
So what is your favourite song to listen to whilst driving?
Everybody has like one song, don't they? And I feel that when I put this on, it just takes me back to like a regression of childhood and like my early adolescence, because that's the sense of fun I feel when I'm driving now, when I'm driving my van and I'm like in that happy place. So I always put on Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters, because when I was a teenager, the Foo Fighters were like my favourite band. I wanted to be a drummer just like Taylor Hawkins. So when I hear that music, it takes me back to that time and it puts me in that great mood of like whatever's going to happen on this road or this next destination I'm travelling to, it's going to be a good one. So it's definitely like that kind of hype song for my next like adventure of whatever I'm doing.
Awesome. And where is your favourite place to take a road trip?
I would definitely say Scotland, because if you're living in the UK or if you want to travel to the UK, it's so accessible. And there's so much diversity of landscapes to explore from a van. So you can be like 2 hours drive from some of the most beautiful islands. Like the Outer Hebrides has islands that are UNESCO heritage sites, and it's like standing in Barbados, and you get to see whales, and there's loads of crazy wildlife up there, which is so natural in that environment. And then you can be back on the mainland and be underneath Ben Nevis in a couple of hours, and then drive through Glenclough, which is just such a beautiful landscape to travel through. And if you were going to walk it, it would take you like 8 hours, and it takes like 10 minutes in the car. And they've got all these different stop-off points that you can take. So that's great for photography. It's great if you just want to stop over and have your lunch. And Scotland is so full of those magical places that are just totally geared up for like a little fan adventure.